VHS 85 is directed by Scott Derrickson, David Bruckner, Mike P. Nelson, Gigi Saul Guerrero, hope I'm pronouncing that right, and Natasha Kermani, and tells a story often unveiled through a made-for-TV documentary. 5 chilling tales of found-footage horror emerge to take viewers on a gore-filled journey through the grim underbelly of the forgotten 1980s. Hello, you weird, beautiful movie lovers. My name is Louie, aka Movie Fandom, and today we're talking about VHS 85, which is the sixth entry in the VHS franchise, which is kind of insane to me. So, first off, let me give you a little bit of backstory. I hadn't seen any VHS movies until last month. I watched the first movie last month, which I really did enjoy, and finished them just this month. And I gotta say, the franchise itself is interesting. If you don't know what it is basically an anthology horror franchise that is found footage and basically telling you different horror stories from different directors, which directors such as Ty West, David Bruckner, Scott Derrickson, and even Radio Silence, Scott Derrickson would go on to do stuff like Sinister and Doctor Strange also, and The Black Phone from last year. David Bruckner also recently doing the Hellraiser remake, Radio Silence doing the recent Scream movies, and Ty West doing X and Pearl. So it is actually kind of interesting seeing on these directors who are now known for doing major horror projects who got their starts off of this franchise. And now I just watched VHS 85, which is the latest entry in the franchise that just dropped today on Shudder, and I decided to watch it. And admittedly, it is definitely better than 99, but it's not that special either, and I'm going to tell you why. So, first off, I'm going to give you my quick thoughts on each segment in general. I'm just gonna go through all 6 of them. I'll just talk about them individually. There are 2 that are from the same director that are basically in the same story, but I'll just do it either way. First segment we get is No Wake, which I will admit I did enjoy. I will admit the ending did disappoint me with it just feeling like it just ended. But, admittedly, I did think it was okay, but then I do admit when, the other segment that happens, I'll get to that in a little bit, it just definitely helped it, out for me, and I did like it a lot more, honestly. And there are some cool gore in it. The ending is, with what happens, it's kind of intriguing also. I do think it would have worked more like a 90-minute horror movie per se, but I will say it was pretty good for what it was. Then the second segment is God of Death, which, admittedly is my least favorite segment off them, which is kind of weird, because the subtitled segments are normally my favorite. I mean, there are 2 from the same director in this franchise from different movies, that are in my 3 favorites, which I think are great, and admittedly, my number 1 favorite is a Japanese segment. This is a Spanish, one, Latino, if you will. I just spilled my mouth. The ending is by far the best part, but it just never had anything to intrigue me with. Admittedly, the acting is really good, and there are some cool stuff that happens in it that does give a nice atmosphere to it, but it just didn't really work. The third segment is TK No GD, which I'm guessing no God, I guess, which basically follows a nut job, admittedly, I guess you could say, and may actually be it's definitely one of my favorite segments of the entire movie. The performance from the actor in it does an amazing job, and also the ending itself is really haunting. Without spoiling it, near the end we get some pretty brutal stuff, and with the makeup itself, and or if you will, CGI, if that is what it is, then it does really good. You can obviously tell it's fake, but admittedly, I will say it does really work, and it is admittedly a really good one that I would actually kind of like to see, you know, at least 30 minutes of, at least, if that's possible, or, but admittedly, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't really work as in, like, longer or a feature per se, but I am glad with what we got for it. The fourth one is Ambrosia, which is the follow-up to No Wake, and admittedly follows a psycho family. And I did really enjoy this one. I like the style of it. It did have, by far the most homemade style to it. I just really liked it, honestly, even with it following a psycho family. But yeah, and it did make, the first one, the first ever segment in the movie that, it follows up with, much more better. Then the fifth one is Dream Kill, which is by far my favorite segment in this entire movie. It's from Scott Derrickson, and while watching I was like, oh, this is giving me real Sinister vibes. And I really do like Sinister. And by the time the credits came on, yes, it is by Scott Derrickson, and he does a great job. If you know what I mean with the Sinister comparison, if you've seen it, you know, or if you'll watch it, then you'll know. It does a really good job with it, and I really liked it. The acting was really good, and it had a decent twist, even with me having kind of an issue with it, but per se, it never really bothered me, per se, and I did like it. And then the final one is Total Copy, which is basically the one I guess pulls them all together, because, well, I forgot to mention, in these movies, there's a segment in here that is basically tying them all together. The first two movies, have tape in the title, and is basically kind of the same, admittedly, where, people basically break into a house and watch these, videotapes. And I will admit, it didn't really interest me for the tiny bits we were getting in between them, but admittedly, by the end, I will admit it's pretty decent, I guess. It's nothing really special, but I will admit the ending is pretty good. Also, the final shot for it is pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie, and, was really good, and it was one of my favorite parts of the movie. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, what do I think of the movie as a whole? Yes, alright. Well, there are a lot of good segments, like I said, like, TK No God, I guess, is what it's trying to say, I guess. But admittedly, it's fine, I guess. There wasn't really any special. The style itself is both its strongest strength and its biggest weakness. It's hard to describe, but it's just, I guess. Even though there are great stuff like Dream Kill that I will admit does, do it well, and I will admit has the best style off it in, the segments. It's also kind of weird, because, I mean, the poster for this movie is awesome, like, the last movie, obviously, but, like, it's weird, because, like, they just don't live up to that. I probably shouldn't really expect more, but I don't know, I kind of like, the second movie a lot, spoiler alert for my ranking, I guess, and admittedly, I kind of want it to live up to that. The closest it's gone is VHS 94, and admittedly, this one doesn't live up as well. I'd say it's better than 99, like I said, mainly because the first segment in 99 was just awful, and is by far the worst segment. I hated that. But admittedly, I will say for what I was trying to go for, I did enjoy it overall, but it's something I wouldn't really watch again unless there's another movie coming out, which, if there is another one coming out next year, then I hope it's at least a little better, or even just good, like, the other, good movies in here, which were only 3, I guess, but, like, genuinely, I kind of wish there was a little more to this. Overall, I don't really have that much to say about VHS 85. Yeah, watch it for yourself if you like this franchise, and overall, I give VHS 85 a B-. So, those are my thoughts on VHS 85. What did you think of this movie? Did you love it, hate it? Let's agree, disagree down below in the comments. Come and tell me. My ranking for the VHS franchise will probably be up by the time I may finish. I don't know. And also, I will have a review for Totally Killer later today. And also tomorrow I will have a review of Fair Play, and after that, The Great Escaper, the new movie with Michael Caine, and then on Sunday I'll review that Pet Sematary movie, which I am very looking forward to, if you can tell by my face. But yeah, that's it right now. Yeah, stay awesome.